What were you saying about us scaring you?
Just how quickly you react and form opinions on music. It's just like I could never see myself doing it, and so if I get to your level, then that means like the amount of time I've put in is just massive. So it's
Look at us being mature on Variety Hour.
at least on surface level.
That's,
It's a good time. I like talking about serious stuff. I like having like cutting below the small talk and actually being real with each other.
you can easily judge the character of a man by the way they treat someone that cannot give them anything in return.
Yeah, I saw a thing on Twitter literally today that was a pie chart that was just all one solid color, and it was like reasons why I treat waiters well or whatever. And it's like, and the color is just like because they're human beings trying to make a living, not my fucking servant. So, I don't think anyone's looking to fight a kangaroo. I don't think you need my advice, but don't fight a kangaroo.
I don't even want to do a rolling intro. I think I want to start with saying rest in peace to DMX, honestly.
Yeah.
Alex, how did you feel when you heard the news, my man?
Dang, it was kind of like,
Because I think you're the first person I thought of, like, when I heard that.
dang, yeah. It's just really messed up. I was in my uncle's house, and then obviously we knew he wasn't doing well because he had cardiac arrest, or he had a heart attack.
I think he had a heart attack from
Yeah,
an apparent overdose. I don't know if that's confirmed or not, but
it's not confirmed though. It's hard. They're keeping real private about it, which I understand.
which is
but,
totally respectable.
Yeah.
yeah.
We don't need to know that.
But I mean, it's alleged overdose. We don't know if it is for sure. I mean, he did have a drug problem, so it's easy to see that would be a likely cause of going into that. But I mean, once he was hospitalized, and then I heard he's in a vegetative state, and that once you're in once they say you're in a vegetative state, man, that's when it's like
Yeah.
you to come back from that is great. It would be insane. So, and then he finally passed away, and then it's like, damn.
At the very young age of 50 years old.
Right, yeah, 50.
Want to stress how young he is. Like, even in the grand scheme of things, he's been around since, 98? His album came out. Probably even before that. He was probably hot in the streets before that. But
yeah,
I didn't have a huge connection to his music, but I totally respected the dude and just like his impact to hip hop and music in general. So just to hear that he's gone, like that he's a absolute legend in hip hop and music, like I said, and it's just like it's weird to read these headlines. Like, MF Doom passed last year, and he passed months before we even knew about it. Like, that's how secretive the family was, which is totally fine.
Yeah.
Go about it the way you want. It's not for the public to know, like, per se. So
Yeah.
I just wanted to say rest in peace to Earl. I believe that's his government.
Yeah, rest in peace, DMX. Like you said, absolute legend. I mean, you're talking about 98 was what? It's Dark and Hell is Hot. Was that? Was really,
Yes, sir.
Absolute, like one of the biggest classics of the 90s in that genre, just undebatably.
Yeah.
So in hip hop, it's just crazy.
Yeah, it pretty much defines the early 2000s.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had
like
so many
going
smash hits, man. Like, just like there's hits, and then there's like smash hits where he had like X Gon' Give It To You. He had like the Rough Riders anthem. He had the part. Yeah, he had the Up in Here. I think that's what it's called.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God,
Where the
you
Hood
couldn't go anywhere without hearing that.
Yeah. It's just giant, freaking like bombastic hits that everyone has heard.
Yeah, because those songs have surpassed the realm of hip hop, and everybody knows it.
Yeah.
He just had so much energy.
He was just completely different. His flow was different. He took lyrics to like his own angle and had his own style. It was he's kind of reminiscent of ODB a little bit, probably like a more aggressive form of ODB for me, but
That's an interesting comparison.
Yeah. I mean, they both have their own they're both like distinctive voices, and like they have like the rough, like the gruff.
Oh yeah, his voice is super distinct.
Yeah, they're both kind of just people you can't like, or like if you try to copy them, you know exactly who's being copied. Like that is
Right.
like,
yeah.
like Denzel on Diet. Like,
I was literally gonna
like,
say it, man.
he
Yeah.
does that, you're like, oh, he's doing a DMX thing. That's cool. He's like paying homage to him basically, like immediately. Yeah. So
Such a great way to deliver lyrics. But yeah, rest in peace, DMX. You will be absolutely missed.
Yeah, it's definitely hard to be a member of society and not know of him, at least. Even if you're not a fan of his music, you know, he definitely had influence in a lot of places. So yeah, definitely rest in peace. That is a rather somber start, but somehow that's just how the world is, and you gotta roll with it sometimes but we're here, we're hanging out, we're doing stuff. This is episode 57 of the Unboxing Life podcast. Welcome in, beautiful people. That's our little in memoriam of the legend that is DMX, for sure. So yeah, rest in peace, as has been said multiple times.
Yeah, we're coming at that a little late just because of the way we record. I believe we recorded last week. We recorded last Thursday, and he passed the following morning.
Yeah.
So that's why we're getting to it a little late. But
so did who else? Prince Philip was.
Prince Philip.
Yeah, I think he died on the same day. 99 years old, which is like a complete 180 in terms of their lifespans. It kind of fucked me up. It was like he had so much life left.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I know, it freaking sucks.
Yeah.
At least it's nice when someone can live to a super old age and you can say, okay, like at least say a long life and everything. And I mean, but even still, it's like people when they die young, like DMX, he still had that giant impact and a full life, even if it wasn't as long as it should have been.
Right.
So you know that he left that behind and everything.
Yep. I think then the message becomes, take 0 days for granted. Live your life as best you can. Obviously sometimes it's okay not to do things, not to be always grinding, always being insane and doing everything with every second of your life. Sometimes, we're humans, we're animals, we're not machines. We need breaks, but get out there and live your life. Have a good time.
Yeah, live with purpose. Not like whatever you choose to do in this life, just live with purpose. Just have satisfaction with yourself.
A lot of different meanings and purposes of life to be found out there for whoever you are. Find them for yourself, and
Yeah, one purpose is not. It's not a one size fits all kind of thing. So.
Yeah, the meaning of life is just a bunch of different things.
Yep.
I think.
Forever a topic of conversation, for sure. As long as humans exist on this earth, I think we'll always inquire about that.
Yeah, we've been doing it. If you search through the old philosophers from the Greek tradition and all that good stuff, it's a question that's asked over and over again and maybe never answered. But maybe the answer isn't what we want. It's the journey, right? That's the cliche.
Hey.
But sometimes cliches can be true and correct in a way. So I don't know. Yeah. That's that. If you're here, you probably already know who all of us are. You've heard our voices now for a good little bit.
I gotta change my fucking name, but that's fine.
Yeah, go ahead, do it while I'm introing. I'm Cameron. I'm one of your 4 hosts for today. With me as well, I got Amo, aka Alex.
What's happening, everybody? I'm chilling on this day.
Yep. And
I'm chilling on this day.
The other music producer in the call, we got Dave Vision, aka David.
Ahead to everybody out there. Hope you're doing all right. Going. It's me.
And then we got last but not least, we got Takara-kun.
Yes, sir.
Over there.
You can find me on twitch.tv at Takara Trove. If you're so inclined.
Yeah.
Also, please, if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, give us a review. And we are actually going to review... We're going to review our first user submitted review on Apple Podcasts. This comes from a very kind stranger. Last Saturday, we got a great one. It's titled "Podcast So Nice I Liked It Twice." Love that bar. It says a refreshing take on current events and pop culture. The synergy between the hosts is often hilarious and sometimes wild. I think I would only amend that by saying always wild, in probably the best way possible. I think that's what makes this show so great. Like, even if you have no idea what we're talking about, I think we can still entertain you in such a way that you don't need to know what we're talking about to have some fun.
That commenter sounds that
sounds pretty familiar, right?
I mean, it seems like they know us pretty well. I almost feel like I share a lot of my genetic code with them. So familiar to me.
Amazing.
That is my sister, everybody, Kaylin. Thank you.
Yes, shout out to Kaylin. She is a longtime supporter of this establishment. We love you.
Yes. Yeah.
You are fucking awesome.
And if you want your own review read, then go ahead and follow in her footsteps, and you'll definitely get the shout out as well. So,
yeah, we really appreciate it.
That's all it takes is that little 2 minutes, and we definitely would not ask if it wasn't important. This isn't us just like glory chasing or whatever. It's just like the entire algorithm runs off reviews for Apple Podcasts, and that's a good chunk of our prospective audience. So, yeah, if you could do that for us, we'd love you forever, and we'll give you the shout out that you deserve. So, yeah.
Yep.
There it is.
Dope. All right.
So,
you want to get into traditions?
We definitely should.
Let's into it.
Who would like to go first? I got my facts, but I think I want to hear to break the ice a little bit. Maybe a joke.
Oh.
Ooh, right, I'll tell you a joke. I'll tell you a joke. So I'll tell you what it was. I'll tell you the business. I was volunteering at the medical clinic the other day, as I do, because I do that sometimes. I was there, I was with the doctor. This patient just comes in, and they were shrinking, and they were like, help me, doctor, I'm shrinking. And then you know what the doctor says? He says, it's okay. You just got to learn to be a little patient.
Okay.
Get it? A little patient.
Oh, now I get it. Thank you, Trevor. Now I get it. Awesome. Yeah, dude, that's good. You just got to adapt to the circumstance. For sure.
Yeah. I was thinking it would be like a shrink, like a psychologist or whatever.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Wait, Cam, did I like...
No, I'm being sarcastic.
Okay, good.
Genius. Yeah, bro. No, that was good. Yeah. All right. I think I'll go next. I'll just roll with it. I'll just roll with it.
Go for it.
Oh, Daddy Cam.
Never again. Not coming from you anyway. In 2014, scientists found a 30,000-year-old virus in Siberian permafrost.
Dang.
The virus...
David was like, gimme.
I was gonna make a joke about this being
too soon. He's with us too soon.
I was gonna make a joke about this being a David fact because David is feeling a little under the weather currently. But I also thought it was too soon. But it's been made. It's been made now, so it's out there. Oh well. Say la vie.
Oh well. I'm a dickhead. I'm sorry. I love you, David.
No, it's all good.
I don't know. Whatever. The virus, Pithovirus seborrheica, was still infectious and began killing amoebas. This raised concerns that melting or drilling Arctic ice could possibly unearth previously undiscovered pathogenic viruses.
That's fucking fantastic, man. Great.
Which is somewhat debated because it can kill amoebas, which are the tiny little living things. But it apparently isn't infectious. It apparently isn't infectious to humans. But they literally like Captain America out of the ice times freaking 10,000, where it was 30,000 years old, had been on ice for that long, and it literally came back to life.
God dang.
And was still deadly. So be careful if you're unearthing things from underneath the ice, trapped under ice. Hey. Go listen to our Metallica series.
Do you know how the deadly amoebas kill you?
Say that again?
Do you know how the deadly amoebas kill you?
They eat your brain.
I think I do, yeah.
Something like that, yeah. So it's when the water is warm. So if the water is hot, get out of there. But they're in the dirt. So when you kick up the dirt under the water, and if it goes into your nose, they'll go and they'll eat your brain.
Oof, Jesus.
They're scary.
I saw it.
It's like standing bodies of water. Isn't it better if it's like a spring or whatever, and it like constantly cycles water?
Yeah, it's at a certain temperature. Once it gets past a certain, I forget the temperature amount, but it has to be warm.
Yeah, that's scary.
It's intense. I remember actually it was when I was still in Florida, probably about 6 months ago, something like that. That there was a story of like a brain-eating amoeba existing in Florida. So that's fun. Yeah. So stay safe, you guys. But yeah. So that's the fear striking into your heart fact of the day. If it's any condolence, the Wikipedia article did continue that the actual viability of viruses to affect humans that are of this ilk is very low or just non-existent. But the scientific community debates everything, so who knows? So anyway, all that being said, let's kick it with a quote or something of that sort.
Oh yeah, I got it.
Nice.
You are fully on one right now. I don't know.
I am sorry.
I'm here for it. It's just taking me a little bit by surprise because we were chilling until now.
I might need some of that yogurt that you got.
For sure.
Oh man.
Shout out to Yasso, I think the brand is. If you would like to sponsor us, we would be more than happy to.
I eat your bars every night, bro. Please.
Facts.
Be the perfect
spokesperson,
spokesboy.
These kids ain't even want money. They just want free yogurt.
That's facts. Like honestly, y'all shit is very expensive. It's like $5.50 for 4 bars. So please give me some free ones.
$5.50.
Yeesh.
Yeah, $5.50 for 4 bars. So anyways, Jesus.
It's happening.
I have yet another Black Excellence Council quote of the week, and this is from Miss Oprah Winfrey, and it goes, "There is no such thing as failure. Failure is just life trying to move us in another direction." And let me tell you, I fully disagree, but I do like that quote. I like the spin on failure, like, hey, you maybe you didn't succeed in this path in life, but that's just to move you on to another part. I absolutely think that failure is a real thing, and it is like the best way to learn in life is by making mistakes. It is not glamorous at all, but I absolutely do think that failure is a real thing.
Yeah,
I would hope so, I guess.
She says there's no such thing as failure. So that's
yeah. I got you. Yeah, it's a metaphorical way of thinking, I guess. I don't know. I guess
a nice way to think of
if you think too positively, then you kind of maybe sink yourself in terms of like when failure actually does come. So I get where you're coming from with that for sure.
It's just like a reminder to take these quotes with a grain of salt and kind of apply it to your life. They don't always apply. So
I don't know if it's going to be 100% literally true, but it's a nice way to think of it. If something comes up and you got to change your path,
for sure.
Mm-hmm. So that's cool. Yeah.
Nice. For sure.
I don't have the accompanying paragraph because I didn't email myself. But you all should be well aware of Oprah Winfrey's career and her upbringing.
Never heard of her, honestly.
Never heard of her.
Yeah, she was only making like 300-something million a year.
Yeah, one of the richest.
Giving out the free stuff. You get a T-shirt. You get a T-shirt. You get a gift card.
You get $1 million.
Yeah, that's the whole thing.
I always used to think about that, where like the tapings of Ellen and Oprah and all that shit, where like one day they're giving away Bermuda vacations for like their M&Ms or whatever, and then the other day they're literally just giving away M&Ms, and so it's like you're so pissed that you went to this taping of the show as opposed to the other one. I'd be heated if I was a week off of like getting a car or something like that, like. Because I don't know.
The audience gets 2021 Accords.
Yeah, right. Like I don't know how often they do that, but I've obviously seen the videos. It's been memed to death of like you get a kind of a thing. But yeah, it's I've always thought that was funny that like sometimes the reward is not nearly the same and it's just a week apart. But yeah, I believe that brings us to our final tradition of the episode.
Okay, guys, I have thought I'd hit you with some classic hip hop, I suppose. Certainly one many have heard, but just a good song in general.
Trevor, contain yourself.
We won't like freak out.
You never know, dude.
Straight from the 80s, man. Straight out of Compton. It is F the Police by NWA.
Yes, sir, baby. I'm all for that shit.
That is particularly topical. Goddamn.
Yes, it's a good song that people can listen to right now and glean what they will. People were talking about this back in the 80s and much before that. Almost nothing, not much needs to be said if you know what's going on, basically. But
the police.
Yeah, great song. I mean, I think it still holds up, honestly.
Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah.
Raw energy. Still fire.
Ice Cube's verse. Let's go, man. The whole thing of them, like, the skit where they're, like, in court and whatever, and they're, like, on trial. Yeah. It's great.
Yeah, it's fun.
Cube is awesome, man.
Yeah, he's a great...
I'm always delighted every time I hear him. He's so incredible as like an actual rapper. He's awesome.
Yeah, Ice Cube's great.
Yeah, it's been popularized quite a bit, and like it's almost like gotten the meaning taken out of it. But like when it came out, and even now, if you actually understand the lyrics, it is scathing political commentary. They are very, very serious. It's not just like, oh, whatever, fuck the police because that's cool to say. It's like it's very serious political commentary about the state of policing in our nation, and it unfortunately still somehow holds true. So that sucks, but reform is coming. I hope eventually. We'll see.
See if we fight for it, I guess. Yeah, man. Yeah, definitely potent lyrics. Young man, get it back because I'm brown. Police think they have the authority to kill a minority. That'll be quoted for as long as it's true, I guess.
Dude, the way he delivers that too, man, he just shouts, and it's so powerful.
Yeah,
that's such a great album.
I think, at least according to the Straight Outta Compton movie, and from what I've heard, like they wrote that after the police sort of like harassed them at their like studio and like treated them like complete criminals and stuff. And
yep.
Yeah, and
good
obviously
movie.
I enjoyed them.
Yeah, definitely. If you don't think there's some very serious fucked up stuff going on there with the policing, especially in the 80s, especially during the crack epidemic and all that stuff, do the reading, because it was all sorts of bent out of shape, and that's putting it very lightly. So yeah, for sure. Yeah. All right.
There you go.
We bounced around quite a bit there from
Yeah.
Excuse me. Anywho,
what was it?
Well, with that punch in of David belting the shit out of everything,
that's gonna be the cut back in.
I did. Yeah. Damn it! I just had such a great thought, and then David was just like, "Gah!" And then I'm just like, "Nah." There's another quote where it's like it's not necessarily a quote so much as it's an idea of humanity as a whole, where it's like you can easily judge the character of a man by the way they treat someone that cannot give them anything in return, like where you treat someone with the utmost respect just because they're another human being, not so much because they're giving you something.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like I embody that 100%, especially at work. I'll take any conversation and just try to make it as welcoming and personal as possible, even if it means nothing. If someone's asking me to do something, I'm like, yeah, man, of course, sure, I'll get to it when I can, things like that. It's not I don't try to shoo them off oh, I'm fucking busy. A lot of people get wrapped up in that.
I saw a thing on Twitter literally today that was a pie chart that was just all one solid color, and it was reasons why I treat waiters well or whatever, and it's and the color is just because they're human beings trying to make a living, not my fucking servant. It's it stands absurdly true.
Yeah
it's a huge red flag if you meet someone and they treat waiters like garbage and stuff.
Oh yeah,
I've heard a lot of people say that. Yeah, so but yeah, I try
to have a really lighthearted conversation almost all the time with them, and just give them a smile. A smile goes so far in anyone's life.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Was back in my time working customer service, you're there for 6-8 hours, whatever, and so you get just crowds of people passing by you and like doing it, and you interact with them and they leave and whatever. And so it actually ends up being memorable when someone is like really appreciative of what you've done for them and they say thank you and they're really polite. And it's like, so that's because of that, I do that all the time. Like literally whatever I do, I say thank you very much, that's great, like I appreciate it, have a good day, like all this stuff. Like I try to be as nice to service people and people in jobs that are serving me one way or another as possible, because they're doing their job well. They deserve to be treated like a fucking person. So that's always
that,
do that.
And you have no idea what's going on in their life.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like you could be the like straw that like doesn't break their back, and then cascade into a completely horrific incident. Like, it's, I don't know, it's just something I think about all the time. Like, especially when like there's a lot of moments where you're at like Publix or you're at GameStop or something like that, and there's a transaction happening and a holdup happens where that transaction can't be completed and you have to wait and you have to be patient, and they'll tell you, hey, look, I'm sorry, like this is so-and-so's happening, you just give us a few minutes. And like I will always like reply like, yeah, no, absolutely. Like I'm never in a rush like for anything.
Yeah.
So like I try to be as patient as possible, and I feel like that goes a long way as well. But
yeah,
100%.
Common decency. I mean, there's especially, well, I think we've talked about before, just people like flying off the handle at like low-level employees that have nothing to do with like why they're upset or whatever. And then also, especially like you can see that they have nothing to do with it. Like the card machine isn't working, so you're like, what the frick? Like how? Like who is that helping? Like you're just stressing yourself out, and you might make it like go slower because you're like talking over them or yelling over them. Or whatever.
right.
It's so annoying to see. It's so freaking annoying.
Yeah, so treat people with kindness and respect, and you shall get that in return. That shouldn't be your motive to receive it, but like that's just a golden rule of thumb of life, honestly.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, man.
I know you in particular are a big karma guy, Trevor.
Oh yeah.
So what goes around comes around, like JT said.
Fam.
So
that's like another part of why I love that fucking song so much. It's literally about karma, and I'm like,
dude,
not to mention it's one of the most fire beats of all time.
Yeah, whether or not there's some cosmic force balancing good and bad will, which is not necessarily what you are literally saying, but it's just as a rule, it stands pretty true in my experience that like you get out of the world what you put into it. So like, stop being an asshole. And actually, that's another quote is like, if you walk around and you meet an asshole, then you've met an asshole. But if you walk around and you meet assholes all day, then you're the asshole. It's like if you're actively like saying everyone you meet is trash, then maybe look in the mirror. So yeah.
That's a great point, because there's so many people that I've met that act like that, where they just constantly complain about everything, and they put themselves on this pedestal where everything that they're doing is not the incorrect thing. Like they're always in the right, and that's like a huge red flag. It's like, no, fam, you are not always right. You are not an angel. No one is perfect. Like, I don't know. That's a huge red flag.
Determining yourself to be infallible is, I'm just like, okay, you're just probably not a good person at all.
No, you're an asswipe. Yeah, for sure.
It's like, to believe yourself of being incapable of doing any sort of wrong and always being in the right is like, that shit drives me nuts, because we're all freaking human. No one's right 100% of the time, and even if you are right a lot of the time, it's still like a very good quality in a person that I look for, which is what I think we all do, is the ability to notice and admit when you fuck up. Is like when you mess up, is like you take responsibility and you move on, because that's the productive thing to do, as opposed to, like I said, being an asshole about it and blaming everyone else for your own shortcomings. So yeah.
Look at us being mature on Variety Hour,
at least on surface level.
That's like a common theme for these episodes, honestly. It's just
we've been doing it.
Shit about life. Excuse me, God, these White Claws give me the awful burps, bro.
Oh, dang, we're on the White Claw. Okay.
I like good carbonation.
The reason I do like the taste of White Claw, actually, but the only reason I bought this 12-pack was because it's their iced tea variant, and I hadn't seen it before, so I was like, oh, let me try that. Why not?
I gotta try that.
Yeah,
that's nice.
if we get an alcohol sponsorship, I'm about to be dangerous. That's for sure. That was for
I'm about to be dangerous.
I was hoping to get a laugh out of you guys. No, it's
Nice.
it's we're rolling with it. We're having fun. It's a good time. I like talking about serious stuff. I like having cutting below the small talk and actually being real with each other. So
For sure. And we will get to that after David and I have a little chat about some classic hip hop, brother.
Yes, dude.
All right, I'm gonna
talk about.
I'm gonna go take a walk. I'll be back in 15 minutes.
I don't think we'll be on it for 15 minutes. But.
We'll see. No, I like you guys talking about music. This is what I say every time. Is like this is what it's like to be in an Xbox party with you guys. Is like that's what when we started the podcast. That's kind of what we wanted it to be. Was just our
that was my entire vision of it. Yeah.
Yes, honestly, yes. So there you go.
Like I was trying to name it like the Party Chat podcast. Like
we were.
I don't know if I've ever told that story on this podcast actually, but like when we were throwing names around, it was like Party Chat, like podcast, like the Party Chat.
We spent
some Xbox Live chat. Like I spent so much time deliberating on names for no reason.
I think we spent right before we recorded episode 0. We spent about an hour and a half to 2 hours coming up with names and looking them up and seeing that they were taken. And it was like, it was so demoralizing.
After we recorded that, and then we found our name after we recorded the episode.
Yeah.
Because if you go back and hear it, it's like, hello, we're the currently unnamed podcast.
That's how you intro it. Yeah.
Yeah.
The currently unnamed cast.
And then we found Unboxing Life, and I was like, I wasn't initially sold with it.
I remember that, yeah.
Like, specifically.
Because
then as we kept like running out of ideas, I was like, no, I see this.
Yeah. I want to mostly, I think I might have been the first one to say it, but we were all tracking that way because I think David was like on about like we were like digging in the crates or like cracking crate crackers or like stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then
crate crackers.
Yeah, which is
no.
Which it was it wasn't that, but it was close. But I don't know. It was like
a horrible name,
different
especially
stuff like
given
that. And so that
we
made
have
me
Alex on the podcast now.
That
he's a cracker. So.
We're getting a little outlandish, but yeah, I think I remember. Shit. I think that brought my brain to like unboxing, and I was like, okay, unboxing fucking what? And so it was, that because we wanted it to be a variety cast, and because we wanted to do whatever we wanted to do week in week out, life made sense. So that's how we arrived at it. That's a little origin story there. And I also was unsure about it, but like you, I love it now. I think it defines us very well.
I absolutely wouldn't change it for the world. I don't think I ever want us to rebrand.
Yeah.
Catchy, man. The ULP, throw up the U. It's all about the U.
Dang, that lines up. That's dope. I love it.
Alex like reluctantly throws it up.
I fucking love it. That's dope.
Yeah. Well, all right, Trevor. Let's
unbox this beautiful fucking album, brother.
With recent music news, Conway the Machine of Griselda fame has dropped La Maquina.
What a perfect little line.
Alex, you want to? Alex, you want to say that? You want to say that?
What is it called?
La Maquina.
How is it spelled?
MAQUI.
Speak a little closer. We can barely hear you.
Oh.
Yeah, Alex, you gotta move in.
Yeah.
Alex, you gotta move closer, brother.
Alex, say it for us in proper fashion.
La Maquina.
Yeah, there you go.
But it's not spelled with a
what does that mean?
Q-U. It's spelled with a K. It's a machine.
The machine.
La Maquina? I spelled with a Q.
It's definitely spelled with a Q.
In Spanish?
I think the actual word is spelled with a Q, not with a K.
It's Q.
All right, then I guess.
It's definitely Q.
I think
the album might be Q, but the word is. I'm pretty sure I've seen it with a K. I don't know.
Could be a different dialect. I wouldn't doubt that. Yeah.
Probably.
I don't know. Whatever. It couldn't matter less. So go for it.
Did you get a chance to dissect the album art?
Yeah, it's pretty lit. It looks like a record.
Like a nice little it looks like a record, and then it's almost like a compound. And if you look at the pool, it's got his face in it.
Yeah, that was honestly a bit much to see his face in it, but it was cool overall. The compound of the record, yeah. So, I mean, Conway, all of Griselda's been killing it. Conway's last album, whatever else he dropped, I love. So,
yeah, from King to a God.
Yeah,
was pretty fire. So I had pretty high hopes for this actually, because that album grew on me after a few listens. Like the first couple listens I had, it didn't blow me away, and then it was just one of those growers where I was just like, okay, no, this is like actually super solid, and I'm like, why am I not digging this more than I should?
Yeah.
I think I just had the rose tinted glasses for Benny. I was just like, no one can touch Benny right now, like in Griselda fame at least.
Dang. I mean,
but he showed his ass on this, man. Oh my god.
I did say, what was it? They say like West got the brains, Benny's the star, but my bars are the silliest or whatever. Like, let's not forget.
Yeah, and there's another line where he's like, I treat these bars like I just walk in and throw darts, and it took me a second. I was like, oh shit, oh, because it's a bar and you play darts in a bar. It's like my man is so effortless with it.
Yeah, I didn't get that. Yeah, man, he kills it.
He opens the album up with calling himself the GOAT, and he goes, the classic ad lib, and then he goes, grimiest of all time. Like, oh, brother. I put that on my story. I was like, that shit is so hard.
I know. I was like, oh, Trevor likes this one for sure.
I love it. I fucking love this album.
I love how there's no skits or anything. It just starts and is like very straightforward, like track, and then that's it. And it's just tracks after tracks.
Right.
That's what I wanted. Like the last one had skits or like stuff from, a Shay interview, and that was good for that. And this is just something different.
I agree. And
just like, what is it? 11 tracks, and it's like I'm gonna add every single one to a playlist.
It's like 40 minutes long. It doesn't keep you too long, and like you said, there's not a whole lot of like filler in terms of skits. Most of the time skits do feel like filler, even if they're like meaningful to like the album's narrative. They don't have a whole lot of replay value for me.
It's like, I mean, they're essential to some albums and they're fine. But it's like listening to that Boldy James album, which I loved from last year. It's still great, but like almost every song will have like this little like 20-second thing, and it's like just long enough where it's annoying, but I'm not gonna skip it because it's not 2 minutes long, and it's
right. But I feel like that about Benny's fucking the track Burden of Proof, where he like it's an insane song for like 2 minutes, an absolutely like hip hop masterpiece for 2 minutes, and then it goes into the fucking joke skit for a minute, and it's like, come on,
that long, for sure.
Not needed.
But this was great. I mean, he definitely leaned into the trap sound on some of this. KD,
KD is ridiculous.
Great.
The first couple tracks are ridiculous. The only thing that I don't really like about it is that he gives so much shine to his new artists, and I don't really care about them at all. I'm not gonna lie, I am totally for him. Like he has this idea where he wants to create the next Def Jam. Like that's his next goal. He wants to be an exec, and he wants to breed these next wave of artists that have that grimy sound and just cultivate great music. But as it stands now, I don't give a shit about either of them. I think it's Jay Skis, right? And Seven, I think her name is.
Yeah.
I could pass on both of them right now. I wanted nothing but Conway on this, because the Conway bits are just so fucking hard.
It didn't bother me at all, really. Jay Skis is on 3, and then I could see it. I mean, they're not like, it's like that feeling like it's like Memphis Bleak, when you hear that on like
exactly. Like, that's a perfect comparison.
And Jay-Z's trying to like put him to be the next big thing, and it's like, I don't hear it, man. I'm sorry. Like,
I don't either.
Like, that's kind of what it is, but they're not bad though. They're just whatever.
They're not terrible. I could take or leave. I think it's called "Had to Hustle," something like that, where I think Jay like sings the hook, and it was like,
it was like El Camino, which might have done that.
Yeah.
One,
it might have been them. Yeah. That track I could take or leave. Honestly,
I can see that. It was a little slow, but
how'd you feel about the Ludaverse? You like it? You like it?
Yeah, man.
That shit was mad hard. I love it.
Ludacris still in the game. I like to see it.
Yeah.
Apparently, man.
Something I never thought I'd saw. freaking, or never thought I'd see Conway, JID, and Ludacris.
Yeah, the fact that JID was on there too. I didn't even look at the track list beforehand. So like once I got to it, I heard him and I'm like, whoa. So I open my phone and I see Ludacris on there. I'm like, yo, and he's like killing it. Like he sounds fantastic. Like he sounds like he was recording in $1 million studio.
I love there's a line from Pete Davidson's bit at the roast of Justin Bieber.
Oh God.
Where he's like, Snoop Dogg and Ludacris are here. If I was 35, I'd be freaking out right now.
Yeah, no, I remember that line.
Yeah,
it's so true though, because there's like a cult fan base that like praises Ludacris as like the godsend of MCs. They just love him to death.
He's pretty hilarious in the Fast and Furious movies too. So
he's awesome in the Fast and Furious movies.
Yeah, he has a ton of charisma for sure. Yeah, it was great. That track was hard as hell, brother.
Facts, man. Facts. That's top 3 on here for me with KD and I think I like the intro track a lot.
I'm happy with that. Yeah, I'm gonna listen to it more. It's his first impressions, but the final track was up there. I thought it was pretty.
The fucking Griselda track. Oh my God.
I was waiting for the beat to kick in, or like drums, like more drums, but without that, I was like, okay.
That sample was crazy.
Yeah,
whatever did that, because I think that's the only Derringer beat on there.
Yeah.
And it just obviously feels like a Derringer beat, but it's like it's got this like really haunting scale of an electric guitar, and that's the entire beat.
He's a wild producer, man.
He is.
I'm so glad he has like a whole collective to just produce for and like, put stuff out. It's just crazy sounding.
Yeah. And then you get who is that second do you remember? I don't know if you remember because you only heard it the one time, but there's like a drop on the second song that I've heard before. And I think it might have been the same producer from A Milli.
Oh dang. I don't know. I didn't know many of the producers.
It was like that's the drop. I know it's a horrible interpolation of that, but
dang,
I don't know. But then you hear Murda Beats on here. It's like I love that he's collaborating with these modern producers and
he's really doing any style at this point. He's like, I used to put Conway in such of a lane. I guess they did that themselves, and then like. And I would just like, be like, all right, he does this. And he's just expanding to just be such a well-rounded rapper that God dang. 200 Pies was great. That was like, cool. 2 Chainz. Yeah. So
I think 2 Chainz verse was fine. I think there's a couple funny lines, as any 2 Chainz verse is.
Yeah. Just nice.
Yeah, no. When I heard KD for the first time, I think I immediately texted you. Like, I didn't even finish the song. I was like 2 minutes in, and I'm like, dude, man, this is such a standout for me right now. It just hit different, so it hit so hard.
Yeah, that hook is unexpected for me. Honestly, pretty great.
It's a fantastic project. I've heard it 2.5 times. I think I got to like the 8th track for the 3rd time today. I was just spinning the shit out of it. I love it.
It's exciting, man. I mean, I always say exciting times when I talk about Griselda because just keep putting out great stuff.
Yep.
They can do different stuff. They can do the same thing, and I'll still love it. I don't know.
I'm with you on that.
Good now. It's all really good now. It's not even like decent.
No, no. They're putting out some high quality shit with the plugs I met too, and this. I'm waiting for his next album. God Don't Make Mistakes. Hopefully that comes out relatively soon.
Yeah.
There hasn't been a whole lot of like great music this year, honestly. So I was just like incredibly surprised with this one.
Nice. Yeah, refreshing.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's our Conway the Machine breakdown.
I'll clear up the confusion of the title. So La Maquina is spelled Q-U, but there's a 90s Dominican group called La Maquina, and the way they spell it is with a K. So every time I've seen that word, it's with a K. That's what the confusion was.
Gotcha.
That's funny.
That makes sense. I forgive you.
Every day, even if it's as minuscule as how to spell a word.
Fair enough.
Nice.
Fair enough.
Fair.
Yeah, no, you guys scare me, honestly.
Why? It's Bangladesh, by the way. That's the producer on the second track that I was talking about.
Bangladesh.
What a name.
Yeah, that's his name. Yeah.
Yeah, what a name for sure.
That's a place.
Name yourself after.
Yeah, where is that? It's near India, right? Hope
Yes,
don't
I
get
was
that wrong.
right. I was right. It is a Millie. He did produce a Millie. That's that
I'm
drop.
about to change my name to Dubai.
That is that drop. I knew I heard it from somewhere.
Good catch, my man.
What were you saying about us scaring you?
Just how quickly you react and form opinions on music. It's just like I could never see myself doing it, and so if I get to your level, then that means like the amount of time I've put in is just massive. So it's like I don't know. It scare is definitely the right but also the wrong word. I don't know how to put it honestly, but it's just like I delight in it. Honestly, I delight in listening to you guys talk about it.
I like that makes me so incredibly happy. Like that delights me to hear that. Like I don't know. It's just like probably one of the highest forms of flattery for me is like just acknowledging the amount of time I put into liking music.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Yeah, no, I mean
that, makes any sense.
it is legitimately impressive, and it's not something that shake a stick at, as it were. So it's yeah. I mean, you guys kill it. I like it. I like listening because it makes me feel informed, even though I'm not like familiar with the concept. So it's I'm chilling.
I'll tell you what
awesome.
scares me. The fact that these men are so deep in their conversation, they may or may not have even noticed that Cameron was absent half the time.
I vaguely remember him like getting up and then like coming back and waving, and I was so like knee deep and like probably on the track, so I was just like, I have to stay focused.
Yeah, I waved them my way by. I knew I was gonna like. For me to contribute to that conversation would be taking away from the conversation, essentially. So
you can't say that.
But no. I mean, there was no reason for me to cut you guys off. Basically, I wanted you to have your time, and so I needed another bottle of water. So I went and did that while you guys were doing your thing, as opposed to cutting off the podcast and taking a break, which is now kind of pointless given the time I've taken. But anyway, yeah.
Before we move on, David. If it bleeds, it can be killed, or La Maquina.
See, this is.
Don't hurt him. Don't break this man.
This is where we can't. This is where I cannot form an opinion that quickly. I still don't think it's fair to be like, I've heard an album once, I'm gonna rate it. I don't know what's better. Like, I don't know if it could end up being better than From King to a God. Probably not, but I have no idea. I've only heard it once, honestly.
I'm taking La Maquina over that. It was such a great first impression, dude. It just hit different.
Do you think both the other ones or
both?
Wow, okay. I figured you might be going that way. That's dope. That it's like your favorite Conway one so far.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you my music recommendation. If you want to look for something different and get hit with an explosion of sound, look up La Maquina with a K.
There's a little Almo recommendation for you.
We hitting Rex, yeah.
There's a couple other great albums that I don't want to talk about, but just more so give a little shine. An Australian metalcore band that came out that I actually saw last February, which was my last show that I saw before the pandemic hit. They're called While She Sleeps. They just dropped an album last night, they're super fantastic. And another band more like at the post-hardcore realm, Hail the Sun, just dropped an album called New Age Filth. So if you're
fun
into some more heavier music or just more experimental stuff, give that a shot.
Nice.
Question. Do the Australians sound Australian when they sing?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh wow.
That's interesting because I know a lot of
not always. Not always. If they're screaming, no.
Well, that makes sense.
If they're singing, it depends, because singing is one of those things, and I've had this conversation with multiple people actually, where your inflection of your voice sometimes doesn't show where you're from. So if you hear Adele, most of the time you won't think that she's British.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Or do a leap.
Yeah, it
exactly. But she has those licks where she won't like be fully singing. She'll just like kind of harmonize or like talk, and you can obviously tell that.
Yeah. I feel that way about Ed Sheeran. There's some certain things he says that I can hear.
Right.
Yeah, Ed Sheeran is definitely one of the ones that I would put in the category of he sounds like he's from the UK when he sings.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah.
Based on a lot of the way he says certain words and phrases, whatever.
Yeah.
Repeat that.
Words. He also says other words different. Yeah.
Yeah.
Australian metal, like as a whole, has always been so much better than a lot of American stuff. By the way,
wow.
Just like,
I mean, it
like,
is.
There's some massive bands like In Heart's Wake and Parkway Drive that are just like North Lane. Oh my god, like Australia is nuts. But
if you want to talk stereotypically about it, then Australia is technically a more metal continent. Honestly, with all the absurd wildlife and crazy shit they have there. So
for sure. I'm sure half of the posts on like, what is it, Nature is Metal or something
come
like
from
that?
Australia, yeah. r/nature
from
is
Australia.
Yeah, Nature is Metal is a lot of them are from Africa as well because of the predatory prey relationships that go on there. But it's it's when you I feel like almost like only like 50% joking when you feel like you live your day-to-day under the threat of crazy wildlife. You probably have more intense like emotions in that way. It's kind of funny thinking about it.
I've seen videos of dudes squaring up with kangaroos in Australia. Like shit gets fucking wild.
I've seen that as well. What's the name of it? Because there's kangaroos and then there's like a smaller version of a kangaroo, and those you can fuck with. Wallaby, yeah, exactly. And so, but kangaroos are fucking buff. Those things will mess your day up. Like they could kill you with a kick to the chest, like easy peasy.
Yeah, there's no could. They will. They will absolutely collapse your lungs.
Yeah. So I don't think anyone's looking to fight a kangaroo. I don't think you need my advice, but don't fight a kangaroo. So there you go.
If you can avoid that, don't do that.
If David could fight a jaguar,
a cheetah,
a jaguar, it's a cheetah. If he fights a jaguar, David's dead.
I think
there's no question about that one.
I think I'd take a cheetah over a jaguar, though. Jaguars are fucking built.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. Easily, I can take.
But I'll take a kangaroo over a cheetah.
Yeah, no one's taking a jaguar.
Yeah. Anyway, that devolved real fast, but yeah. Anyway, but the original thing was that I read something a while ago about how like singer when the digital age began and music from other countries became more available, like across the pond, as it were, that it was pretty commonplace for pop singers especially and stuff like that to neutralize their accent to like sound American, and it was almost on purpose, but it was almost unconscious as well. And I don't know. I mean, do the reading if that sounds interesting to you. It was a while ago that I saw this, but that's why I asked the question, is because it's interesting to me that when accented English speakers sing, they tend to neutralize their accent more often than not, in my experience. So it's an interesting phenomenon, I think. But yeah, that's all I asked.
It's hard to tell in a lot of cases.
I think you were fine, but anyway, yeah. So yeah, cool. Shouting out new music. I'm glad you guys are enjoying Conway the Machine. That's definitely someone I have to catch up on, as well as the rest of Griselda.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Before we get off of that album, though, fucking that West Side Gun shit, where he's just like, I'm gonna shoot them all. Like, I'm gonna shoot the family. It's like this dude just has no chill. Oh my god, he is so fucking hilarious, man.
Yeah. He sounded really coherent on that verse, like more like focused in a way when he came in. But then, I mean, he's also classic West Side, like you said. He just has those freaking what sound bites or whatever. Like, I think like Royce da 5'9" said he speaks in sound bites. It's apparently he like speaks similarly too. He's just like
Jesus, man,
with phrases and says them.
Yeah, it actually makes sense.
I will say, Cameron, if you did want to get into Mr. Conway, this album is like the perfect entry point. I feel
cool.
It's really accessible.
It would be accessible. I feel like either one, it would be. The other one, might learn more about him, like his background and stuff. And
you talking about from Kingdom of God?
Yeah, just a little bit.
Yeah, I definitely.
This is him talking like boss shit, like after his like origin story. I guess
that's cool.
Call it.
That's cool for sure. Yeah, I definitely like personal storytelling and stuff like that. So. Especially within art and within music and rap, especially, I guess. So yeah.
We'll probably be playing him a little bit later when we play poker, but
Batterino, dude, fire it up. Hit me with it. I'm always down.
Yes, sir. Speaking of firing things up, Alex, you had a topic that you would like for us to talk about. I would love to hear it.
Maybe bend our minds a little.
All right, I gotta.
This will probably be our last topic because we're almost at an hour, actually.
Oh,
yeah,
really?
probably will.
All right, bet.
But so I was in my studies the other day, and I had something that stuck out to me, and it is the Milgram Experiments. I don't know if anyone is familiar with the Milgram Experiments.
I think it rings a bell, but you're gonna have to tell me.
So familiar. I'll remember it as soon as you say it.
So I have like a little history thing here. So Stanley Milgram, he's a psychologist, and he wanted to study obedience in everyday people. So a little bit about him. He was born in 1933 into a Jewish family in New York, and he was born there, but his parents immigrated from Europe, and that kind of with everything going on in the timeline that affected him in his throughout his life. He's quoted as writing in a letter as saying, "I should have been born into the German-speaking Jewish community of Prague in 1922 and died in a gas chamber some 20 years later.
Oh my
How
God.
I came to be born in a Bronx hospital, I'll never understand."
Hmm.
So, like I said, he was
What a
into
horrifying
the
quote.
psychology thing, and he conducted his experiments after the trial of Nazi officer Adolf Eichmann, who wasn't tried in the Nuremberg trials because he escaped in South America, and they caught him in 1961 and they tried him and sentenced him to death. And Simon Wiesenthal, who was the Nazi hunter who captured him, said, "The world now understands the concept of a desk murderer. We know that one does not need to be fanatical, sadistic, or mentally ill to murder millions. That it is enough to be a loyal follower, eager to do one's duty." And so that's kind of Milgram's whole ideal is to see, is because a lot of the rationale was that they were just following orders, and he wanted to test that and see. He wanted to determine basically what extent could regular people obey authority figures who instructed them to do things that was against their beliefs and morals.
I remember.
So pretty much after that trial, he conducted his experiment, and this is how. So it worked like this. He had three people. He had the experimenter, the learner, and the teacher. And the teacher was the participant, and the experimenter and the learner were both in on the experiment.
I'm gonna stand up for this one because my legs are dying.
Repeat. Sorry, repeat that. The roles.
So there's
just the
three
roles.
people involved
just
in
the roles.
in the experiment.
Yeah.
There's the experimenter, the learner, and the teacher. And the teacher is the participant. And the learner and experimenter are both in on it, but the participant doesn't know that the learner is actually in on it. He thinks that he's just another participant.
Yes. Okay. Got you. That's what I was confused on. Got you. Thanks.
Okay. Yep. So the learner was hooked up to electrodes, and they were told that the shocks were painful but not dangerous. And the teacher role was to give the learner word pairs like questions and stuff, and they were supposed to answer. They'd be shocked whenever they gave them the wrong answer. And some learners, they did two basic trials where one throughout this experiment standard, and then they had some where the learners brought up that they had a heart condition, which was made up. And so the learner was brought to a different room with no contact, and the teacher had the experimenter behind them, and the teacher was presented with the participant was presented with a shock box that had different intervals of voltage. So it went from 15 volts all the way to 450 volts, and they were all labeled like slight shock, moderate shock, and then the last one was like intense shock XXX. And so the teacher couldn't see the learner, but he could hear him. So the participant was instructed to read these words to the learner, and if the learner got an answer wrong, he had to shock them. And so no shocks were actually given, but it was important for the participant to think they were really shocking the learner. So as the shocks like increased, the learner was supposed to complain and scream, and then screaming to stop. And then when it got to the intense intervals, there was silence, so you couldn't hear them. And then if the teacher looked back at the experimenter would just tell them that they have to keep going, that it's imperative that they don't stop, and you don't have a choice, basically. And so the experiment ended if there was two different conditions. If the participant verbally protested 4 different times, or if the maximum shock had been given 3 times. So before the study, Milgram asked different professors and psychologists what they think would happen, and most of them said that very few people would go all the way, and those that did were most likely psychopaths. And so when they got the results are kind of disturbing. The results showed that 65 of participants shocked all the way, the 3 different times, and then
out of how many?
The ones where the learner said that they had a heart condition was less, but not a lot, 63%.
Oh, you said 65%?
Yeah.
Yep.
Went all the way? I thought you said 65 went all the way. Okay.
Yep, 65%.
And then you said the second part was what?
And so to the people that said that they had a heart condition, it was a little less, but it was 63%.
A negligible difference, yeah.
Yeah, pretty much negligible. So I guess in conclusion, what they found is that a lot more people are not necessarily willing to, but they will obey a authority figure more than likely not. And so this experiment was replicated a couple of times, but the experiment was deemed unethical. And they're like, this experiment is not allowed to be.
I was gonna say, go ahead and finish if you're in the middle of
something. Yeah. Basically, it's unethical, and you can't do this experiment anymore.
Yeah, what I was gonna say is, like, it is unfortunate, and I'm not for it necessarily, but the amount we learned about the limits of humanity when ethics just weren't a part of psychological studies was, like, kind of horrifyingly productive. Like, we learned a lot about the human psyche when ethics just weren't a concern, especially in studies that are more fucked up than that one, which exists somehow. But yeah,
that's kind of what I thought. That when I was studying this, and then they said that it's no longer allowed to be done anymore because it's unethical. In my head, I'm like, is saying that it's against ethics just, it's like avoiding a natural part of the human psyche that is dark. It's definitely a dark side, but leaving it unexplored, what could happen? So I guess that's my question for our discussion. Like, do you think in the name of, like, learning, it could be okay, even though it's unethical, and to learn about, like Cameron's saying, you learn a lot about the psyche, kind of leaving things unknown that we wouldn't know just because it's unethical? I'm curious to know.
So I guess I'll have an idiot question. What exactly is unethical about that particular experiment? Because no one was hurt, correct?
I think the reasoning
was it just because, like, for psychological damage?
David's going to say the exact same thing I will. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, the psychological damage caused to someone who, like, thought they, like, inflicted a lot of harm on someone else and that kind of thing.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. Because the results of the experiment becomes, like, you're looking to see if people will obey authority to that degree, and then you force the person to discover that about themselves. Is like, I will outright abuse a person just because I'm told to by a stranger. That can fuck someone up for sure. So
yeah,
that's definitely what's unethical about it. I have no qualms about it being labeled like that. Yeah,
right.
I didn't have a qualm. I was more so just asking how it was unethical.
I'm not saying you do. That's my perspective. So
yeah, I think that one is. Yeah, I definitely get how that's unethical. I mean, there's obviously a lot of dark parts of the human psyche to explore, but there's a good question of, like, whether we can just maybe try to do some of the exploring just historically, like examining stuff that already happened, and or tragedies that continue to occur, like what's the psychology of a mass shooter or something, people just have to sort of work with case studies of stuff that's already happened and figure that out. And they kind of know already what happens usually in those cases. And so, there obviously have to be certain ethical guidelines. I guess with that case is basically the debate is like, is that case crossing the line, or if people just find out dark stuff about themselves, is that crossing an ethical line? Yeah. I don't know. Like you said, it's a true part of humanity. Like,
yeah, I think it's kind of it's difficult to say because, like you're saying, with case stories of historical events, because this study was directly inspired by World War II and all that events that occurred, and so, like I mentioned before, a lot of the Nazi rationale was that these officers, they were following orders and stuff. And while it's easy for normal people to look at that and say that's bullshit, you knew exactly what the frick you were doing, and they did terrible things, awful things. But then when the study happens, and then you find out that 65% of ordinary people will follow orders if they given it to a immoral extent.
mm-hmm.
It's kind of like, damn,
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, it's something that was worthy to be found out. But I mean, also the unethical part is like, it's different. Like us just hearing about it, like, dang, man, that's bad for humanity. But like being that person too was, I think, people probably had, or people did have trauma from it. Like even if it was fake afterwards, and like, you thought you tortured someone, like maybe to death, it can kind of mess you up.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm definitely in agreement with that. I would like to, I wouldn't like to, but I would like to imagine how it would feel to be the person that, you're being coached into torturing someone, how that would affect me personally.
Yeah.
I don't even know if I would get to that part of the 65%. Like,
yeah, you would hope you would be in the minority, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And that's so easy to say, like, without being pressured from external forces.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Do you have
that's a tough thing.
Do you have a date on the study? Perchance?
1961.
61. Okay, that's later than I thought.
60 years ago.
Do you? This is definitely asking too much, but when you do studies and stuff like that, especially old ones, I like to know like the demographics and stuff like that, because like it's. Do you know the N, like the number of participants they tested outright?
I probably should have known that, but I don't know it.
Yeah, I mean if I brought this to the pod, I would have left that out as well. So don't worry about it. It's just I mean, as a formal psychological study, it's probably in the couple hundreds, I would expect, but especially because when you said Milgram, I recognized it immediately. I didn't know why, but that's like same as David. Like I knew that was something I had heard about, because obviously that's a cornerstone psychological study. Like, how much harm is the human person capable of causing to another human? And I would honestly like. Okay, so the question being like ethics and all that stuff is like you can't. I mean, not obviously. Maybe it's up for debate, but it's just like it's fucked up to do to someone, and therefore with current empathy and all that good stuff of like not harming your fellow man for the sake of whatever knowledge, it'd be messed up. But I would be curious, morbidly so, I guess, to see the difference in that study if they're like in the room with the person as opposed to blind and only can hear them, because that's a factor in a lot of studies, to my knowledge. There was another one where there was something about saving a person in the other room and like hearing them choke or something like that, and testing whether or not people would take action. It was about the bystander effect.
Yeah, if someone is like in the other room, like supposedly dying, and then if you're in the room with what they found, like if you're in the room with people, you're far less likely to go in and like try to save them. Like you just think someone else will do it. And then,
Yeah, that one. I forget. I can't. If you Google whatever David just said, then you'll find it. Or not whatever David. I was listening, obviously, but what David just said. If you look that up, you'll find
whatever
it.
David just said.
Whatever David just said. I'm not listening. I swear. No, it's exactly like that. So there's been a lot of stuff done like that. I don't remember if that one was an old one that would violate today's ethics. I don't think so, honestly.
Yeah.
But regardless of all that, I would be curious to see if you mess with the variables a bit more. The heart attack variable is interesting.
The heart condition. Yeah.
The heart condition variable is interesting because of. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess it would have been common knowledge at that point. Like, it's the 60s, it's not the Stone Age. So, like, obviously, people know by then that, like, people with heart conditions are more sensitive to trauma, I'm sure. So, it's not anything...
Especially, like, electrical shock.
Yeah, especially that. So, there's not anything insane there, I don't think. But it's... neglect... Never mind. The idea that they would be about the same percentage, that there is... no difference in hesitation is interesting, but if I were to pick a variable, it would be more about closing the contact between the teacher and the learner, because I'd be very interested to see how that would play out.
Yeah, I wonder, like, if the studies that replicated it did slightly different. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Cool topic though. I like it more so. It is food for thought than it is for us to debate, but
no,
I like it.
It's like it tells us a lot about, like, and then it's like, where do we go from here? We just gotta make sure that kind of power doesn't rise up, because people are just susceptible to following it, basically. Like, that's rough. And then maybe like the good thing it's like about that study is you realize, like, maybe more people are just aware, like, based on that fact, like, they wouldn't do it now. Like, now that they know about that study, they're just like,
right.
Makes them cognizant of their own behaviors and stuff.
It's back to the Attack on Titan thing of sacrificing those few for the many.
Like, back forward to?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
True. I was
gonna say back to, but tune into that in 5 days if you're listening to this as soon as we post it, or not 5 days, 4 days.
Yeah.
Well, whatever. Anyway, it's I'm not gonna deny the fact that I do have a morbid curiosity of, like, I mean, the way I was gonna say it was like, if you're not hurting anyone, I would love to see the results, but, like, that's an oxymoron, basically, or like a paradox, not an oxymoron, a paradox.
Yeah, so you can get pretty creative with trying to do stuff ethically, but there's not everything that you can do.
Yeah. So
yeah,
it's I mean, I worked in a psych lab, quite literally, so I know all those things by repetition, basically, is the idea of how to treat participants and how to run an experiment and all that stuff. And so, it's basically the point being, it's tough because I'm so deeply curious about the mind. I mean, we know so very, very little about the human mind and how the brain works, that, I mean, we currently sort of have technology to map brain activity, but it's mostly surface level, and then we just guess beyond that, large in part, unless you have, like, the really, really good shit, but even that is still part guesswork. And, like, I mean, the most accurate thing is an MRI, but how accurately can you test someone's mental state when they're in a massive machine that's whirring around them? It's like, it just creates potholes for itself, basically. So it's right. I mean, I'm that's why I'm minored in psych, is because it's very, very deeply interesting to me the way we operate on a day-to-day basis and our animalism versus everything that makes us different from every other living thing. So I guess that's closing remarks. Take it away, David.
How many minors does this man have?
2, actually.
Oh, dang. Okay.
Dang.
Flexing on us a bit.
El español es el otro.
Damn.
I'd be interested to see. I know it's not right. I would be interested to see if they even tried to do a study similar today. I don't. It's definitely not worth, mentally scarring somebody over, like we're saying. That's the whole part of it.
Yeah.
So, but I'm more so curious as to if it did occur in today's era, 60 years later, how would those results change? Would we see a similar pattern, or would we see lesser?
Yeah. Like, dude.
We don't know, and I don't think we won't know for sure. But it's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool to cover these studies that have interesting findings like this. Yeah. Dang. It's a good topic, man.
All right.
On a lighter psychology note to end it, I think it was a study done with parakeets, or some type of bird, that they demonstrated altruism, in which the
Shout out to episode 6.
Oh my God, was it that long ago? Really?
Trevor,
I mean, obviously it was long ago, but I don't remember what episode it was.
Disney
I
Parks
remember-
and Deep Talks, I believe it's
There
called.
you go. But yeah,
I remember
so
listening to that episode, just throwing on Overwatch. I was playing Overwatch while listening to you guys.
yeah,
Damn.
no, it was so the basically this I think it was parakeets, but it might have been a different bird, but it was birds of some kind that they were set up in a way that some would be fed and some would not, but they could choose to share food with each other, and they weren't at all trained to share food with each other, but when the birds that were being fed observed the other birds that weren't being fed, they would actively share their food with them.
Nice.
Really?
That's dope.
So
Nice.
I checked our Unboxing Life podcast on Spotify, and it is episode 6.
Good
So
lord.
we lit.
Yeah,
Cameron,
animals can
that
be
reminds
wholesome.
me-
That's what I'll say.
That reminds me of a movie called The Platform. It's on Netflix.
I've
Have you
heard of
seen it?
this.
Heard of it.
It's an intense psychological thriller. I'd recommend it if you're into that.
Oh, cool.
Heard it's intense. Yeah.
I'll check it
It's
out.
It's originally it's a Spanish movie, so you can watch it in Spanish if you want. But there is an English dub, which
Oh,
is
I will.
fine too.
I will watch it in Spanish. I ain't no.
I'm sure you will.
I ain't soft like that.
Yeah.
If I'm not watching,
now?
if I'm gonna claim to be conversational and tout my minor in it, then I might as well like watch it at least subtitled. So
Yeah, for sure. Imagine.
There you go.
Yeah.
And with
Yeah.
that, ladies and gentlemen, I think we're gonna wrap up our variety hour.
Trevor, you are lilted, my man. You are.
I'm not drunk. I just my fucking legs hurt like shit.
Oh,
Dang.
from sitting?
Yeah.
No, that chair is complete god awful garbage. But I walked around a lot today. We went shopping, so
You're at a cipher about to spit a hot verse.
I'm just confused as to how standing.
Grimiest of all time.
Yeah, you leaned into
Dang.
that mic. I'm just confused as to how standing helps your legs, but anyway.
Yeah, stretch them. Get up and stretch 'em.
Exactly.
Oh, you do be stretching. Okay, I get it. Makes sense.
Thanks, Dan. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man.
You're welcome.
So, hope everyone is doing well. Had a better week than me, man. I was sick as a dog. So,
Dang.
Yeah, he felt like he was definitely feeling like he was dog water for sure.
I was in dog water state of mind. And ball. So get your vaccines, you suckers. So you don't have to go through what I did. It wasn't COVID, but
It wasn't COVID, so yeah, the vaccine.
So
will
you
help
will
in
still have
that.
to go through what he went through.
Yeah, you will definitely have to go through what he did if you caught what he did.
yeah, don't catch what I did, but also get
Don't
your
catch
flu and
David 21.
COVID vaccines. 'Cause, it was very
I
similar.
just realized how close it is to COVID.
Yeah.
David. Yeah.
Jesus.
The heck. Yeah, suckers. Stay healthy. Take care of your body. Get some rest if you get sick. Sheesh. That was a garbage week. But we back at it. Thanks for listening, everybody. And it's been real, guys.
Oh yeah.
I'm real curious to see what you thought about the psychological studies that we present today. If you like them and want to see more, tell us in the comment. If you say, Alex, that shit was ass, that shit was boring, I want to know that too, because then we'll never talk about it again. But
Doubt.
Regardless, thank you for listening, and I love you all.
Trevor, you're about to make me feel some type of way. I don't know what you're doing over there.
I might have to dick you down like this. I'm not gonna lie.
Not like this, bro. Nah, it's
Go
oh Jesus fucking Christ! That's something they only do in the. That's something they only do on X videos. But
Hey.
yeah, it's it has been real for sure. Like David said,
Damn, stealing my boy David's
I do
line,
love
bro.
you all, like my boy Amma.
Ah, man, wow.
The medley.
I'm not Grand Theft.
I'm not trying to steal, you feel? I'm trying to pay homage. I'm trying to tribute to the boys because I care about y'all so much. You got them phrases that make me feel some type of way, you know? Trevor is distracting the fuck out of me.
What's up, buddy?
If you're on YouTube, you're getting the full experience. If you're on YouTube, you don't need to hear what I'm about to say because it's already below the frames. But if you're on audio, you can find us at Unboxing Life Pod on Twitter and Instagram, and you can find us on r/Unboxing Life Podcast on Reddit. So yeah, come start a conversation with us. Like we said earlier, leave a review on Apple Podcasts and a comment on YouTube, and let us know what you feel. Let us know what you think. Talked about a lot of stuff. Talked about a variety of stuff. So, you know, it's fun. I like to think we can start a conversation. So, all that said, adios, everyone.
I think you're correct in the assumption that we can start a conversation because this is 58 episodes plus our episode 0. That's 59 episodes of over 100 hours of content of us talking, over the course of 9 months. So you are correct in that.
Is it 9?
It is 2 days after 9 months of our relationship of the Unboxing Light podcast. Yes, we started on July 15th, 2020.
Hours.
We're out of the gestation period. Is that what is it?
Yep, that's correct. No, that's correct.
Yeah, there you go.
What, the 9 months?
Yep.
Yes.
The scientific word for pregnancy. Yeah.
Yeah. Shout out to being pregnant.
Hello.
Rap if you don't want a kid, and if you have a kid, stay in their lives. Be a nice, good dad.
Or mom.
Very true.
Or mom. Yes. Even though our audience is currently like 90% male. Be a great female.
We'll balance that out.
I have Return of the Mac in my head, and I've had it stuck in my head for the last 90 minutes. So I'm gonna hop off this podcast and beat their asses in some poker, and I'm gonna, absolutely vibe out to that track. But if you enjoyed this episode, please give us a rating if you could be so kind. Hopefully you enjoy our in-depth looks on life. I like being a little mature with you guys and kind of opening up with my views on the world with you guys. It's pretty much the MO for our variety episodes.
That's how we do.
Yeah. And with all that said, hope everyone takes care. And yeah, stay healthy, stay happy. Tell your friends you love them. Tell your mom. Tell your dad. Tell everyone that you hold near and dear to your heart that you love them, because life is really short. And peace out, baby.